Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cree with Let's Make Art, and today we are doing our Let's Make Art Matter postcard for the month of June. If you're unfamiliar with Let's Make Art Matter, what it is essentially we come together as a community every month and paint a postcard for someone or an organization who just needs an art hug. We have a nomination form, and it's just a way for us to come together to a community and let someone know that we're thinking about them. And they don't solve anything, they don't take away pain, they don't take away hurt, they don't take away tragedy, they don't take away anything. But sometimes it's not about solving all of the problems, it's just about letting someone know that you're thinking of them. And so for this month, we are painting a postcard for Jesse Petersen. Now, if you've been a llama for a long time, or if you've looked back through our old YouTube tutorials, you will see that Jessie was our art journaling artist and teacher. So she's an amazing artist, an instructor. And if you ever want to learn about art journaling, please check her out. She still makes wonderful education to this day. But her father unexpectedly passed away. And so I just wanted us to come together as a community and paint some postcards for her to let her know that we're thinking about her. It's really hard when you lose a parent. And so I know that that's something that for the majority of us, we will know or have known or will experience that pain. And so I just wanted to let her know that she isn't alone. Okay.
All right.
So what we're painting today is we're actually painting half of a butterfly wing. Butterflies are something like Jessie has taught how to do butterflies. They resonate with her. They resonate with me too. And what I'm envisioning, and here you can see I did one in my journal. If we each do half a wing, I'm going to include the outlines, and I'm going to have some that are going to be oriented to the right and to the left, because then I thought as she's receiving these postcards, they can come together to make a whole butterfly, even if they're not the same. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this is you guys can paint this however way you want. There's so many different color combinations and textures and tools that you can use. Jessie is a mixed media artist, so if you have some different tools laying around that you've been wanting to try, this is a great postcard to try it. And I just thought it would be a beautiful way that we can spread some love into her studio, because that's where these are being mailed to, is her art studio. Okay.
Sounds good.
So we're going to be doing this project in 3 steps. First, we're going to do a colorful wash on our wing. Our second step is we're going to do the dark kind of sections and detail lines. And then our third step is just any finishing details. I do have some metallic paints here that I will kind of finish off, just a few kind of shiny strokes at the end. But again, just use whatever you have, okay? Now, before we get painting, let's raise our right hand and take our oath. I promise to be kind to myself.
Promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
Promise not to compare my work.
And I promise to have fun.
I promise to have fun.
Okay. So I'm just going to use you can use around 10 or 6 or whatever round that you have. The colors that I'm using are Q, Gold, and Phthalo. I love these colors together because they're vibrant, and when you mix them together, they create these really gorgeous turquoisey, deep sea colors that can lean like warm green. So that's what I'm going to go with here. So because we are doing dark details over this entire butterfly wing, you can approach this like you're just doing a wash across it. So I could just start with some phthalo and just use water to kind of spread it out. You don't have to paint it section by section. If you want to, of course, it's your painting. You can do whatever you want. But when these kinds of areas, it's kind of fun to do. Like now that I've spread that out, I can then take strong phthalo mixed with maybe a little bit of Q gold and just kind of swoop that in there and let it be. And because everything is wet on wet, you're going to get these blooms. You're going to get these different textures that are really beautiful and stunning. And if you want there to be different values within your wing, don't work it back and forth. You're basically just going to drop the color in, let it move on. Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to let that be just for a second. If you have salt and you want to see what salt does, like that creates some really cool textures. And sometimes I like taking just pure Q gold, like so much wet paint, and just kind of dropping it in and letting it kind of move on its own. Isn't that pretty?
That's so cool.
And again, I'm picking up a lot of paint. The one thing is we want to try and still see our outline through our wash. So don't be afraid to go pretty dark with your outline color. For me, we'll see how this dries. I might not be able to see it. And if that's the case, then you just eyeball it. Honestly, like people are going to look at this and know that it's a butterfly wing. So you really don't have to stress too hard about making it super realistic. Because this shape alone, and like no matter what colors you're using, the shape alone, people are going to be like, oh, wings.
We've talked about the differences between butterflies and moths a lot of times, but my favorite one and the easiest is when a moth is on the ground, its wings lay flat, and a
Oh,
butterfly's wings come up together.
that is such an easy way to tail.
Also, hairy antennas.
Yeah. And again, I'm just using phthalo blue and Q gold. And different mixtures, ratios allow for different feels of color. But again, what I want to really stress to you is it's going to be tempting to do a really dark value across the entire thing. And I'm just going to ask you to try and like let there be some light areas. There needs to be dark and light. And I'm going to take some Q gold. And if you have some like Q coral, you can mix a little bit of Q gold with Q coral. That's going to give you like an orangey color, or if you have orange, you can use orange. But I'm going to use this orange to kind of paint the edges of the wings here. And again, this is wet on wet, so the colors are going to bleed out. I'm not mad about it. I love these colors together.
Very pretty.
And I'm going to take that Q gold, and there's going to be some areas that even though it's like black, if you look on the inside of it, it's like a brown. So I'm going to paint those areas gold or orange. And then when I go to put in my black detailing, I won't cover up the whole thing.
You have a favorite Jessie memory? I loved going to the botanical garden with her family.
Yeah.
Her husband, Robbie, is a really great photographer and he has like cool camera equipment. And we just all walked around this beautiful botanical garden and took pictures of flowers. What about you?
Uh, I would say, I mean, we worked together for years, but probably one of my favorite, like, I still belly laugh to this day. And this is like, Jessie is, we still run into her actually. She just lives the next town over, so we don't see her as much.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite memories was she was filming her first tutorial. Like she was getting all of her stuff together to be a teacher. She was filming her very first tutorial, like practicing being in front of a camera and all of that kind of stuff. And she was talking about colors. And she said, like, she's like, she was talking about the color pink. And she was just like, pink is like vibrant and happy and playful. And then she paused. She was like, it's like the antithesis of me. And I just belly laughed so hard. Ugh. I know that she was really close to her dad too. And so when I heard that he passed, I just went, no, like it's,
Yeah. I mean, it's never great, but sometimes you know a little bit more about the situation, you know?
Yeah. And I remember too, like when my bonus dad unexpectedly passed away, like I just remember recognizing that I was moving through life operating as if there was like this unspoken agreement, and I didn't even realize that I was operating that way until he passed. And it sounds so weird. I can't describe it anything more than like, you know how like, what are those cars called? Little cars that are those obsessed with the tiny
Like
little
Matchbox car Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels. You know how Hot Wheels cars come in like individually packaged plastic wrapping?
Yeah.
And like they're on a shelf, layered, individually plastic wrapped. And I just remember feeling like when my bonus had passed away, that the plastic was gone. It's
Mm,
almost like I don't know if that's like the most effective way to say it, but it just felt like there was no safety. We operate through life as if we know what's going to happen. And that's what this like plastic coating, like you fit nicely into this thing of like this is how life goes. And then something happens, that you're just like, oh, there is no plastic coating.
yeah.
There is no guarantee, and that there is no uh I don't know. It's just one of those things where you just recognize that like your life is not protected. There is no escape from tragedy or pain. That doesn't mean that there's not also joy. And but it's like the full experience. And I guess I didn't realize until that point that it's just like, oh, like life is really just what it is. And we don't know what's going to happen or when. And so that's why it's just like, I don't know, that was a really sombering, like really hard experience. And since then, I feel like I've just been a bit more serious, but I feel like that's part of growth. Not that you have to be serious, but just that like you're humbled into recognizing the the reality of life that at some point it ends,
Yeah.
you know? So, okay. So here's my gorgeous wash. You can see here, I have textures and blooms. I have color changes. I have bleeds. This is all going to add to the overall effect. So I really don't want you to feel like it needs to be a perfectly smooth wash. It does not. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take lamp black and I'm going to start putting in the details. I also started to paint the body. You can see it here. It kind of turned blue. I want to keep it a little bit brown, so I'm going to do a little brown wash on top. But again, this is your painting. So if you want to do it a different color, you can. If you want to do it black, you can. You can do whatever you want. And I'm going to add a little bit more Q coral to this mixture because it's going to neutralize any green. Okay, let's just leave that. Now let's do the black detailing. And if you want to mix the black with your phthalo blue to get like a darker, like a navy color, you're welcome to. Again, I'm encouraging you to just do what feels right. I'm using a liner brush for this. And usually what I like to do is I'll do the liner brush for the detail lines. And then like the larger sections that we get to down here, I'll use a larger brush for that.
I also have really fond memories of Jesse. I don't know if you guys know this at home, but I'm very chatty. And me and Jesse can get chatty about things. And she's from New Orleans and she just has the best stories about everything. Like she was there for Katrina. She grew up in such an interesting area that like I'm from California. I have no idea about Louisiana, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just very fun to talk to her about what her life was like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and I'm kind of losing my outline here a little bit, so I'm just kind of going off of vibes. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And then if you want to switch to a larger brush, like a round 6, or any kind of round, this is where you would want to switch it. And I'm just kind of following the pattern. But again, I just want to stress to you that, like, if for whatever reason, if you paint the wrong section dark, like, don't be like, oh no, I ruined it. Like, honestly, you didn't ruin anything. And I'm leaving little sections on the black part because I know that I'm going to go back in and use a metallic watercolor there. Or you can paint it black, like all the way through, even if you do want to use metallic watercolors, because metallic watercolors actually show up better on all black. I'm just putting it there almost as like a reminder for me to be like, oh, wait, I'm going to put color there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you want to kind of, when you do these sections, you want to think about how these, like, all of these sections combine to like these main veins or main lines. You see that?
Yeah.
So when you go to paint these sections, think about these lines curving and connecting to those main sections. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So it's like a curve into it where it meets and connects. And that way you're not just painting a chunk across, it's going to feel more like it's part of the wing instead of painted on top of the wing.
Mm.
And again, I can't really see my outline, so I'm just going off of feels and vibes.
Would you say you're winging it?
Yes, I would say that.
All
Okay,
right.
let's do the next section here. Okay. Okay, and again, we are going off vibes.
You know, something interesting about butterflies, Sarah. When you think of like a snake or a spider, they're I feel like a lot of people are scared of them, and I think it's because you don't know at a quick glance if this snake is poisonous or not, or if that spider will bite you. I think people in general love butterflies because they don't have mouths.
Yeah.
They just have little hoses. Butterflies like, what's it gonna do? Land on me?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's like no real risk to hanging out with a butterfly.
And they're so like, I don't know, when a butterfly does land on you, you're like, oh,
Yeah, I've been chosen.
have I just been chosen? My oldest daughter is like a butterfly whisperer.
Oh yeah,
She can catch them. Like,
they come to her.
yeah.
I tell her it's because she smells bad. She doesn't like. She doesn't think that's as funny as I do.
No, like the only time I've like held a butterfly where it was just resting on my finger and the wings were just opening, closing,
Yeah.
opening is because she caught one and was like, "Here, mom."
It like crawled onto your
And I
hand.
was just like, "It will just let me hold it." She goes, "Yeah, just put your hand out." And it just like crawled on and then it just stayed on my finger and I was like, "This is one of the most magical experiences ever." And I know that there's lots of like detail lines on this. You can use a pen if that will be like a better experience for you. There's nothing wrong with that. I would say that when it comes to these kind of detail marks and mark making, lean into the meditative experience of just kind of zoning out and letting yourself paint. Oh, I didn't connect these. And it doesn't really matter what dark section you paint when. There's not, I'm not doing anything too, I don't know. It doesn't matter. You can do any section at any time.
Where we live in Hamilton is along a monarch butterfly migratory path. So there's lots of, right next to us in this little town, there's like a monarch butterfly garden that like attracts them. And at certain times of the year, there's just like thousands of monarchs here. And I love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, it's really just stunning. They have little sections in here. This I'm gonna fill out.
Last summer, we have like property in the back that I don't mow all the time. And then usually up front by the house, I mow. Occasionally, I'll go mow the back so it doesn't get overgrown. And I remember coming over the hill in my little lawnmower, and just like this field was orange with monarchs. And as
Mhm.
I came into it, they all took off at once, and it just it felt like a blanket came up. It was very, I don't know, it's
What a
indescribably pretty.
magical
Yeah,
experience.
it's very pretty. I just thought, I'm not gonna mow back here.
Yeah.
And I just let it be.
You know what? You go ahead and have this butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put in my sections. I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to still go back in and do some metallic things. And then I just want to say, like, if you're feeling like it, you can do even more color if there's like an area where, like, man, I wish that there was like just a stronger swish. Like, for example, if I wanted to go in and do another little layer, you can. Just know that if you touch any of the dark areas, it might soften it or fuzz it out or diffuse it. I don't think that's the end of the world. So, like, do it if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it and you feel good about your color transitions, great. But sometimes it's nice just to do like a glaze of color somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit dark. I have to like tell myself to calm down. And I'm going to do just a little glaze of Q gold on some of these. And a glaze is just like a thin layer of color.
That adds a lot.
And yours might have been vibrant enough to begin with that like the glaze little sections are not necessary. Again, respond to your painting and what you want to see and not necessarily trying to make it like somebody else's. Yeah, isn't that pretty? And maybe a little bit at the top here. But I really love these blooms and textures that happened right here. So I don't want to touch those too much. If I want color to stay on the left-hand side, I'll actually push into and blend into it instead of blending to the right.
Mm.
That will keep the color in the area that I want it to be. You see that?
Yeah.
Maybe you can softly transition it out, but sometimes we don't want like a strong blue to go all the way to the edge, right? I'm going to do it over here. Again, with a damp brush, I'm just moving water into that area, letting it bleed, controlling how far it goes. Oh, pretty. And let's do the same thing with Q Gold. And you can do as little or as much of this as you want. This is your painting here. Maybe just on the areas that didn't have that cool Q Gold texture. I can. Yeah. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of texture on the body. So you can use brown, you can use blue, like whatever color your body is going to be. I'm just going to do a dark kind of line and value where it meets my wing to just create a little bit of separation. And then I'm going to just do like, you can just do dry brush or just kind of like a fuzzy texture. Just like that.
Mm.
I'm just going to, I realize I didn't paint the dark edge on here. Okay. And then now, if you guys have any kind of metallic accents that you want to add, now is the time to add those. So I'm going to do this like, I also have this Pearl X. Let's just see what that does. I'm going to do it to an area that's already, ooh, wet.
Nice.
That looks good.
Yeah, I like that.
I wonder what happens if I do it on top of the black. Let's just see.
Goes right over it.
Yep.
Cool.
So it kind of gives it that kind of shiny, what's that word I'm looking for?
Pearlescent?
Pearlescent, yeah. Now I will say if you're using pigment powders, this is Pearl X, this is Jacquard Pearl X. This doesn't have any binder in it. There is no gum arabic in this. So if you mix it with your paint and just use a small amount, it won't smear off. If you were to use just pure of this on top a lot, there's a chance that when it dries, the gold just kind of smears.
Mm.
Okay, so just keep that in mind. There's no binder in this, so it's not going to bind to the painting. If you use a little bit, it will mix with your watercolors. If you use a lot, it will not.
It's just fancy glitter, essentially. It
Yeah.
just kind of sits on.
Whereas you can use like metallic watercolors. There is binder in this. The metallic has been binded with the pigment, so when it dries, it won't separate. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of filling in those metallic-y areas. Sometimes I like to do kind of like a transition on them. But again, this is your painting. You guys can do whatever you want. And then the fun thing, what is this one? This is Art Philosophy Metallic Accents. I'm sure you guys have some sort of metallic something.
Metallica.
Nice.
Rock on.
Maybe a little bit of blue metallic accents. Just have fun with it. is what it comes down to. And sometimes I like to do, even though it's not going to show up very strongly, like you can see I'm adding metallic like blues to my blue sections. It's not showing up a lot, but when it dries and then when it hits the light, that's where the metallic accents are going to show up. So sometimes I like to do just a few hints here and there. So then when the light hits it after it's dried, it has this really cool kind of shimmery effect. Okay.
Lovely.
And if you want to do splatters, feel free to do splatters. I don't think there's anything wrong with a dark background. I mean, a plain white background. If you wanted to do a single color, like please feel free. This is your postcard, your painting. So you really can do whatever you want. And again, I'm going to have some that are oriented on the right hand side and the left hand side with the whole intention that like when we put them together, they create this butterfly, even if they're different colors. I don't know. The other thing is like, because Jesse does a lot of like art journaling and like mixed media work, I can envision her, and Jesse, you have every permission to do this, of like taking some of these postcards, cutting out certain parts, putting them and using them as like, 'cause she makes collage papers that are stunning. I don't know. I just thought like, this is how, this is how she can feel some love and support from the llama community. So thank you guys so much for painting with me. If you need to find the address of where to mail it to, it's in the June digital pack on the Let's Make Art Matter page. If you did not purchase the June projects, but you still want to participate, we absolutely encourage that. You do not need to purchase June in order to do the Let's Make Art Matters. You can just email us at hello@letsmakeart.com and we will share Jesse's address with you. Again, this mailing address is not her home address or anything. So we can share that, and then you guys can send some love to her. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really love being able to teach you guys new things and being silly and being fun. But sometimes there are moments where it's just like we need to acknowledge the ups and downs of life as well. It's not always pure happiness. It's not always pure joy. A lot of the value that art brings is working through difficult times and being like a form of self-care and therapy when you're experiencing something that's really, really difficult. And so I just want you guys to recognize that art has so many healing capabilities where it not only helps you feel more connected and helps you observe and you can be playful and you can have fun, it also helps you work through some really difficult times. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sending an art hug to Jesse. Jesse, we're thinking about you. Our hearts go out to you and your family, and we will see you guys next time.